All right, so hey everybody, back again with the beautiful Roxanne and Arno. We had a bit of a previous video that we did on meditation, but we wanted to do a follow-up on that. If you didn't see the previous one, don't worry about it. I'm going to put it as a suggestion for you at the end, so not to worry about that. So in the previous video, we spoke a little bit about meditation, what it is. We kind of just went all across the board to give you some basic ideas. And today we want to be more focused with it. So hi Roxanne, hi Arno.
Hi.
You can see there at the bottom of the screen, it says the new earth. That is their practice that they are at this point in time in towards the end of 2022 is running from Centurion, right? Centurion in Pretoria. I haven't been there myself, but it's a really, really amazing space. I've seen the pictures and I've heard some amazing things from people that I know personally who will tell me if something is not nice. So it must be nice. I have to come visit. So I think we had a bit of a discussion before we start this, and I think we all sort of agree that the general intention around meditation and why it may or may not work has got a lot to do with your intention. So I think instead of me going into that, why don't maybe you guys discuss to me or with me a little bit of the things that we just spoke about. Arno, I like the one that you spoke about. You started with joy. Shall we maybe speak about that first?
Yes, so it's been coming up in our readings a lot with clients and our messages from Spirit as well, our personal messages, that the energies are kind of a little bit heavy, not heavy, but it kind of amplifies everything that's currently, in your space. So you can use meditation to kind of release the heavier energy, the heavy emotions that no longer serve you. So set the intention that I want to release anything that's weighing me down and making me feel negative and pessimistic and all that. And then ask for Spirit to help you invite the lighter, more joyful energies. There's a split happening. The split between the negative and the positive is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So it's best to be on the lighter side of things at this point in time.
Yeah, even though, yeah, sorry, my apologies. Even though it feels so heavy, because the split does feel heavy, it's actually a good thing. But meditation can help you to sort of ease through that, which makes it easier. It doesn't have to be that hard. Sorry.
Yeah, even with the Schoeman's residence is going higher and higher and higher. And I got this sort of message, I think it was yesterday, that you're either going to jump on the bandwagon and keep yourself in, one of the highest vibrations is joy. So keep yourself in a joy and excitable state, and you won't be weighed down by the split, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Another thing with meditation is also not to suppress. So if the emotions come up during meditation, I felt sometimes I'll start crying or something will come out of nowhere. It sort of gives you the opportunity with nobody around to just let it come out and then release it, and then, like they say, don't live in the emotion, feel it, release it, and then you can sort of move on. So it gives you that nice quiet space where emotions can come up and they can be released as well, and then you move into that positive joy sort of feeling,
Yeah, don't invite those heavy emotions for tea and cookies. Just let them come and go.
Yeah,
exactly. But with that being said, the other thing is though, if you do feel that you've got this heavy emotion that keeps on coming up consistently, then maybe you want to say to it, listen, if you don't just want to go, let me make you a cup of tea and tell me who you are with no judgment. Because that's what's great about meditation. You get to understand what it is that's coming up. And so you understand what you're releasing, because, just calling a spade, especially when it comes to this whole new age phenomena, which is not really that new anymore in any case. It's all about, you just got to be happy and you always got to be smiling. It doesn't work. I tried this for years. It doesn't work. You need to do that inner work. You need to do that deeper work, shadow work, inner child healing, and meditation is really fantastic for that. It's not always enough to just do that, but it's definitely that companion that most certainly help you. It's like dressing over your salad. It makes it so much better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Sometimes those darker, heavier parts of you, which you call the shadow, they just need your love and attention and it'll go away. So sometimes, you need to just give them that energy, a little bit of energy.
I think one of the most powerful things that I've heard or that I've learned in sort of like, regression hypnosis training and NLP and those sort of stuff is that one of the biggest reasons why we sometimes have problems is because we suppress the things that we don't like. Whereas meditation gives you that space to come open with no judgment, because it's like, I don't know, facing the dragon with your sword. When you face the dragon, you realize that it's actually not a dragon after all, it's just a big shadow. But as long as you keep on running away from it, you keep on running in a direction that you actually don't want to be running. And I think that is the biggest benefit of meditation. It gives you the space to become quiet so you can actually gain perspective, which really goes in line with what you were speaking about, Roxanne, that about the mindset. What is your mindset behind your meditation? Because you can, and this is something important that I think that you need to understand, is that you can do something that is as right as meditation, but if your intention behind it isn't correct, you can actually manifest yourself into a spot that you're trying to get away from. And I will talk about that quite extensively. So let's maybe elaborate on that quite a bit, because I think that is something really, really important to get.
Yeah, so for me, one of the biggest focuses for meditation is really to gain control of my mind. I feel that our minds run away with us, and that we, in a negative fashion, and we manifest that. So I've realized over my entire life, I'm always seeking the problems in a situation. Let's use business. I've had a few businesses in my life, and I was always focusing on not enough business, financial matters, not enough this, not enough that, focusing on the lack without even realizing it, because we're conditioned to find the problems in life. We're conditioned to look at what's wrong so that we can fix it. But what I realized with meditation is that by fixing it, you actually need to change your energy inside of you so that you can attract abundance, whether it's financial, love, whatever it is. And when you meditate, you gain control of your mind, because you come into the present moment and you become aware of these thoughts that are constantly running around there in the back of your mind. And you then start telling your mind, after doing meditation consistently all the time, you start recognizing, hey, but I've got a negative perspective on this the whole time. And you're able to stop it in its tracks and kind of shift that. And when you shift that, and again, together with the joy, being in a more positive mindset, it's not saying ignore the problems. It's just that we unnecessarily constantly focus on the problems and we fixate on the problem itself. But when you want to, if you want to get to the stars, you've got to shoot for the stars. You're not going to look down at your feet, I used to ride motorbike, and they always said to me, if you look down at the floor in front of your bike, you're going to end up there, because that's where you're looking. So if you look ahead at the horizon and where you want to be, that is where you're going to go. And that for me is what meditation is all about. There's a lot of other things, but this has been my biggest sort of achievement with meditation. I recognize the issue, and then I say, hey, you've now in the back, it's like autopilot negative thinking. And I've been able to gain control of that, and it's made a huge difference in my life. Another thing for me with this is just, we need to be consistent with meditation. Once or twice a week doesn't cut it. I always say, and it's very much like exercise for me, just try and get in a little bit for today, even if it's just 5 minutes, but that consistency is what really makes meditation easy. Because a lot of the clients that we see say to us, oh, but I find meditation so difficult to quieten the mind. And I said, well, are you doing it every day? And they say no. And that is why, if you do it consistently, I find within a week or two, your brain is like, hey, I can do this. I can quieten the mind. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things for me with meditation.
You can also use meditation. You can see your mind as a DVD player. So when you find that you have a negative thinking pattern, let's say you're an emotional eater, and when you feel depressed, you want to go to the fridge for food. You can actually, during meditation, set the intention and say to yourself, I'm ejecting this tape. I don't want it to play in my mind anymore. It's as simple as that. You can really just deny that same tape playing over and over again.
Yeah.
It's actually very helpful, because me being a very typical Cancerian, I can be an emotional eater. I can literally finish a whole pizza like it's nobody's business. If my emotions are all over the place. And so something that I use meditation for, which is really, really great, is I would say to myself, okay, you can still have the pizza. So I'm not trying to push that away from me. But then I said to myself, okay, but how about for 10 minutes before having the pizza, you place yourself in the mindset where you already have the pizza. So you're already feeling all happy and stuffed, and you had all of those flavors and licked your fingers and whatever. And then I find that I don't actually need the pizza. Now, I'm obviously not recommending that you know, that whoever watched this completely go off food or anything like that. I'm just saying that it can be a very helpful thing, you know, for you to make healthy decisions.
Yeah, another thing, talking about eating, just for example, meditation teaches you to bring your mind into the present moment. So that we're not, I think we have discussed this, so we're not thinking in the past. I found when I eat food, watching TV or mind gone, you're not present in what you are doing, and that's why you end up eating a lot more, because you're not focusing on the actual food that you're eating. So if you focus and enjoy the flavors and think about the textures, you'll find that you eat a lot more because you've enjoyed what you've actually eaten. You haven't been somewhere else. You're in the present moment enjoying your food. So there's two factors to that. It makes a big difference.
So if you're actually looking at this right now and you are eating, pause the video. Don't switch it off, pause it. Really taste what you are eating or drinking. Really for a moment, just really taste it. You know, taste that crispness or softness or whatever it really is that you are having. And for a moment, like really imagine yourself, if you could taste, for example, with all of your senses. So imagine if you could taste with your sense of hearing and smell and all, which technically speaking, how tasting works in any case. And then you come back and then you let us know what it actually was like for you, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really, it's a complete shift. And I think the thing to really understand is that we think of meditation as such a complicated thing because we live in a world where we are taught from a very young age that anything that is sort of worth your attention and your time or your energy or anything, it has to be complicated, but it doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be at all. I mean, you can tell me what you do. I'll tell you quickly what I do. So what I do is when I wake up in the morning, it doesn't matter what is going on or how I wake up. I will take 3 deep breaths in. I take a deep breath, I hold it, and I release that breath. And I visualize myself just sort of saying hi to the day, and, you know, giving my body some oxygen because you've been down in this bed for hours, and then we just want to jump up. And I place my mind on that mindset of, I don't know what may happen today, but whatever happens, it's going to be fine. You're going to be able to cope with it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be all right. Nothing lasts forever. And in that sense, it might sound like such a simple thing, but it's important to understand that the first thing you present to your mind when you wake up in the morning, that is the direction that your brain understands you're going to take this day. So if you wake up and you flip open your phone and you look at, oh my goodness, calamity, did you all see what's going on over here? Then you actually set yourself forth for that kind of day. And whatever you do consistently, eventually, and in most cases sooner as opposed to later, becomes your experience of life. So it's the small things that we do that has the big impact. And if you can't meditate for, let's say, 15 minutes, then first of all, if you can't meditate for 15 minutes, you might need to reevaluate your life. All right, so that's my bit. What did you say to that?
So I must also mention that the veil is thinning more and more and more, which is an ideal opportunity to connect with your past and loved ones, the angels,
your guides,
spirits in general. So if that's not exciting, then I don't know what is. So all the more reason to meditate. And when you do, if you want to connect with someone that passed on or someone on the other side, before you start your meditation, you set the intention and you say out loud, I want to connect with Peter or whoever is your past and loved one. And you'll see when you get to the point where your mind is quiet, you'll start receiving thoughts and messages that's not of your own, your thought pattern at the moment. And you'll know that's when you start channeling and you start communicating. So I guess, yeah, that's, for me, it's very exciting.
And the reason why it's so helpful, I always say they've got an eagle-eye perspective of life. When they're up there, they can see things a lot more clearly than we in the thick of it. So by connecting with your guides and connecting, you don't need to have this vision of someone pop in front of you to connect with them. They'll just send signals into your mind, or they'll send thoughts into your mind that will help you with your current situation. And that's why it's so valuable, because they're there to almost assist you through life. But we never hear them once again because the mind is so busy that there's no space for them to drop in thoughts and warnings and advice, sort of thing.
We also don't ask. We need to ask. We need to
Yes.
ask them. They can't just interfere without our permission or asking them to do so. So that's very important. Ask.
And that's a big thing. That's something that I've been saying to, I remember a couple of years ago, a very good friend of mine was looking at a lot of channelings, different people, this celebrity and that celebrity and sort of thing. And she was saying to me, I wonder why nobody challenges Nelson, or why nobody channels Nelson Mandela. And I said, well, maybe the dude is just not interested in being channeled. And she's like, what do you mean? I know we're going a little bit in a different direction now, but it sort of ties in with us. And I said, you need to understand, in the same way as somebody calls you on your phone, you can either answer or not answer, or knock on your door, you can open or not open. When it comes to channeling, sort of, be it past loved ones or other beings in different existences or whatever, you got to ask them. Is it okay if I ask you some questions? Because they may say yes or they may say no. They might not be interested in us in the slightest.
Yeah.
But I like what you said, Arno. You were speaking about psychometry. For those of you that are not familiar with psychometry, short and long, basically, anything you touch, let's think of it as least like an energetic fingerprint on it. And with psychometry, with energy, you can basically pick up on it. Very long story, very, very short. So if you maybe want to practice that, for example, with meditation, because meditation is incredible for psychic development. And the thing about psychic development is that, or psychic being, senses, whatever, to understand that it's actually a natural thing that everybody has. Some people are born more intuitive, others are less intuitive, but you can be trained. I mean, I think you guys do that coaching as well, right? You also teach people how to develop this stuff. And I think you do an amazing workshop, if I'm correct. Yeah, you do an amazing workshop at your space, the New Earth in Centurion. I do mine more online. But you can be trained how to do these things. And meditation is the thing that's going to get you there so much faster, because meditation is not a space so much of doing, it's more a space of allowing. But it's the allowing that makes the doing so much easier.
So meditation, it helps to get you out of the way. If you want to channel and connect this with spirit, you need to get your own ego, the conscious mind, out of the way. And you cannot do this without meditating. I think it's impossible. You have to just get yourself out of the way and be open. You need to be the channel, the tool that spirit works through.
So when you look at people channel online and you see they go like, they're not trying to be dramatic, they're actually kind of like, kind of moving their own consciousness out of the way to get the messages from the subconscious, which actually, it's not, most of the times you don't get that whole person right in front of you. You will get some sort of inkling of something. I sense a button. Something seems wrong with this button. It can maybe be something like that. So if you are interested in developing that, meditation's a good place to start. If you don't know where to start, that's a good place to start.
That's our key in the workshop. I always say meditation is key. You need to learn that first before you can go anywhere. It's how we developed ourselves as well. Meditation is absolutely key. Just another quick tip that helped me in the beginning. I found that fiddling with something, and I don't suggest, but I found that fiddling with something, I'd either fiddle with a crystal or I'd fiddle with Play-Doh. It tends to keep the mind busy somewhere so that you can actually still yourself. So, I don't know if you guys are in agreement, but I've had to do it.
So this is where psychometry is so powerful, because what you do is you can take an item that belongs to a past and loved one, and your focus and intention all will be in that item, on that item. So you will naturally not be focused on yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it much easier to connect with that person. And plus, like you said, that energetic thumbprint is still left on that object. So yeah, you're tapping into the actual energy as well.
And that's a good point, like something that I used to do with crystals, for example, because I mean, I've got lots of crystals books and you can get lots and lots of stuff on it. But something that you can do, let's say, for example, using this one, is to not really read up what it is. You just sit there, you just play with what sort of impressions do you get. And you don't try to be right or wrong. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about just seeing what comes to mind. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And then you can start doing that with other things, with other objects, you know, like if you get somebody that you know or you really trust who's not going to sort of like make fun of you, you know, you just sit with a piece of clothing and you just see whatever comes to mind. You don't have to get this big profound message, because something that I discovered is that what sometimes doesn't seem like a big message to me can be huge to somebody else.
Yes,
And you know what, something that I want to really speak about, Roxanne, very, very quickly is you come from more sort of a corporate background. And as I'm saying that, I realized that I don't really know what background you come from, even though I think I know so much about you. And you can tell us about that in a moment. But Roxanne, you come from this very corporate sort of background, which is very, you know, cross your T's and dot your I's type of thing. And a lot of people often have a lot of trouble moving from that space into a more, I'm not going to call it the spiritual space, a more personally fulfilling space, a more Zen sort of space, whatever makes you happy, which may mean you never own any crystals. Maybe you decide to open a pina colada stand on the beach or something like that, because that's more fulfilling to your soul. But with those very difficult jumps in life, something like meditation can help you with that, because it's literally almost like going to see a therapist. You're in a quiet space where the challenges in your mind can actually come up, and you can see what they are, and you can address them in a, I can almost say, in a respectful way, in a very constructive sort of way. So if you deal with someone that is specifically trying to make that jump, which can be like such a leapfrog from the sort of colder, greed-driven, you know, generally speaking, corporate sort of environment, and you want to go to an environment that's sort of like different to that, what would you suggest to them, especially pertaining to meditation, and maybe anything else they can add to that?
So how it helped me, when I moved into this environment from corporate, it was one of the things that we have to do all the time is work ourselves to the bone to achieve money. And we technically prostitute ourselves for money, because we are meant to be there for 8 hours a day, but we are expected to be there for 16 hours a day. And I came into this environment thinking that I have to work really hard to get there. Another thing is that you'll find there's a lot of politics in the corporate environment. So you constantly, your ego is at play, because it's constantly trying to defend yourself and to protect your position. So coming into this space, the meditation helped me to realize, again, coming back to shifting your own energy, and not having to work hard, but manifest for 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, part of the meditation, rather than having to work so hard that you know, it's like trying to draw blood out of a stone. We've only got so much. So, and having to be successful and works. So all those hard black and white rules and regulations that came from corporate, those are all the conditionings that you actually want to break down, you know. And also the flow of money. It's prostituting yourself and working hard to get that salary at the end of the day. When I've now had to, what meditation has taught me is to allow the flow of money, is to open up your heart center and to be present and to be at peace inside, because money flows, I believe it flows through your heart chakra. So your abundance and your environment, heart does not feature. We don't work with heart space. We work with mental space only. And this is a lot of the things that I've literally learned in this year, being in the more holistic and spiritual practice in business. It has changed so much about all the conditioning and the beliefs that I had prior to this from there. But it's taken a good 6 months, but I've shifted and I can see the difference. Do less, receive more. Where in corporate, do more, and you're not really receiving more. You know, maybe every now and then you'll have an achievement, but it's just like, I need to do more to get more abundance, and that is completely incorrect.
Yeah. So, I don't know, by the way, since I now have you here, what is your background? Because I just realized to myself now, my goodness, I don't actually know. It's like, whoa. So what is your background?
So mine is also corporate, exactly the same story. So yeah, for me, the most important thing is when you work in a corporate environment, you constantly bleed yourself dry to impress your bosses and to get that promotion, to get that raise and all that. So for me, what helped is to reconnect with nature, because you really disconnected from nature if you work in the office space all day long. So reconnect with nature, sit in nature, find yourself again, because you have lost yourself for all those years working in corporate. So to me, that's the most important part. Yeah. And also, instead of working hard for something, you attract something instead of working hard. So that's the golden rule.
Yeah.
So all of us come from corporate, and I can tell you one thing for sure. I've really struggled, because I had that, you know, really drummed into me, really from school days, actually. You need to be a hard worker.
Yeah.
God forbid you go to the toilet twice a day. You know, your idea of success is sort of thwarted, because in corporate, you are not allowed to, you're not really allowed to have an individual voice. I remember this one day, I was forever called into the office because I'm a very independent thinker. And, you know, I remember this one day my boss said to me, "But Adrian, you've got no right to feel this way." And she was still talking. I was like, whoa, let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. You have got absolutely no right to tell me how I'm allowed to feel. Which actually surprised me as well, because I've always been more of a roll over and die sort of person at work, specifically in corporate jobs, because you're not allowed to have a voice. I've never really been that way in all other parts of my life, and now I am that way in all parts of my life. But one of the things that I really struggled with when I started to do my own business was I was forever exhausted, because I had that belief that I had to work myself halfway to death. At some point, I even went in the direction where I started to really like get into things like makeup, for example, so that you don't look that tired, which I can tell you for a fact, one, I really don't like it. It's such a mess. And two, no matter how much makeup I wear, if I'm tired, I'm tired. You'll be able to see it. I can't hide it. But it was difficult. I would really push myself to feel worthy of doing what I'm doing, like worthy of sort of like being an entrepreneur and worthy of the money, until I kind of came to a point and said, but why am I doing what I'm doing? And what is my purpose behind doing what I'm doing? And I've actually changed that purpose a little bit. Now it's all about helping people to find happiness in this life, because when you're happy, you're good, your vibration is great, and everything comes to you. It's so easy. But then being happy, it's not that easy. And that's really great with meditation, because when you are happy, things are easier. Funny story with happiness. I remember a couple of years ago, and I can't remember exactly how long ago, but it's probably around 2002, I would imagine. And the Oprah show was really beginning to hit very big in South Africa. And, you know, everybody was there, Jim Carrey and all these amazing people, and everybody said that if you can find happiness, Brad, you started. Right? If you can find happiness, your life will be good. And with every bit of my being, I wanted to be happy, but I have no idea how to be happy. So if you're looking for happiness, desperately looking for it, and you don't know where to start, meditation is a good place to start. And it just has to start with those simple breaths. You know, you don't have to be able to put yourself in this position and try to break your knees and stuff like that. Just very simple, very present. Even put something aesthetically pleasing in your environment. Every time I come around the corner, I see this fish tank, I go like, oh my goodness, that's so nice. So even those sort of things in your life positively contribute towards that as well. All right. Let's wrap this up. What sort of things would you like to give us?
So firstly, the thing is, like you said, finding happiness, but happiness is not outside of yourself, and that's what you need to remember. You need to find that happiness within yourself. Be happy with who you are. Accept yourself, your shadow parts, your unloved parts. And that's what meditation really helps you with. That's where happiness starts. It's not from materialistic things, it's not from experiences, but it's from your own soul.
So like I was going to say now, corporate, you train yourself to, if I work harder, I will find happiness. Meditation has taught me, if you just sit now we can sit in anger so easily. We can sit in fear so angry. We can sit in depression so easily for days on end. But when you tell you to sit in happiness, can you do it? No. But when I meditated, I just learned, I can find happiness within me. And by sitting in happiness, we attract abundance. And that's it. That's the last words for me. It's the most profound thing that meditation has done, and it works.
The bottom line is, if you put your happiness in someone else's hands, what do you think your success rate will be?
not gonna work. And you know what? Like, and the ways that we normally catch us up with, it's like the finances and it's the romance and those type of things. Because I mean, obviously, same as you, I speak to a lot of people, and I speak to people that has got tons of money. I can tell you one thing for sure: money doesn't make you happy. It can make your life a lot more comfortable, definitely, but no problem with having lots of it. But you know, you also wanna, if you really want the intention to focus on, let your intention be happiness, inner peace, growing your relationship with yourself. And a lot of us look for we are desperate for a relationship with someone else. And, you know, we are desperate to find love because you're finding so lonely. And I can almost guarantee you, if you come from that standpoint and you actually find someone, that relationship is going to be worse than being alone. It's because it comes from an intention that you expect someone else to make you happy. And no matter how much somebody tries, they can't. They just really can't. It's not possible. They can't.
So true. I always say you cannot truly love unless you learn to love yourself first, and learning to love yourself will breed happiness.
You can't give what you don't have.
Correct.
Exactly.
So any closing things you guys would like to add?
Yeah, I think I've said my thing.
Yeah, me too.
Go be happy, joyful, do the little things, find the joy again, let the inner child come out, and yeah, raise your vibration.
Tell us quickly what you do. The
To me,
services you offer and
so I've got little kiddies. Getting involved with them in little playful things makes me feel happy. A sense of innocence, doing things like having ice cream for breakfast if I feel like it.
I can come with
you know, things that are just do in the moment. If something comes to mind and it feels a little rebellious, just do it. If you feel like doing something and you know it's going to raise your vibration in the moment, go for it. It popped in your mind for a reason. So just go with the flow and just do it. Music is another thing, you know, all sorts of little things. But it's generally, for me, it's my inner child. When my inner child wants to do something playful, I get into it and I just go for it. And it works like a charm.
Again, connect with nature. I think that's the easiest way to kind of bring joy into life, because nature accepts you the way that you are. There's no conditioning, it's just unconditional love and acceptance. So to me, that's very important.
And I think even if you're in a space where you can't connect with nature, you live on the 20th floor in some busy city or something like that, bring in some plants or, you know, put up some pictures of nature. Something that I used to do when I lived in the city. Two of my favorite sounds it's like river water flowing over round rocks, and another one is the wind blowing through palm trees. So I would get something like that, like so bringing that essence into your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So we just wanted to share this with you. We did do a course together on meditation. We're probably going to do some other collaborations going forward. Whatever I do, I normally advertise it on my YouTube channel, Adrian Nelson Tarot. But we just wanted to share that with you because what we found in our individual practices, so myself and Roxanne and Arno, they stay together and I stay like way on the other side of the country. But we met through a mutual friend and we came to discover that a lot of the things that their clients are challenged by is a lot of things that our clients are challenged by. And for a lot of us, we'll recommend meditate, meditate, meditate. And people's like, I'd love to meditate, I just don't know how. So that is really how all of this came together, and we hope it was helpful. And you know, if there's anything else that you want to know about from myself, from Roxanne, from Arno, then let us know. I'm going to put their contact details for you down below. I know you guys work in person. Do you guys work online as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right. All right. So you guys work online, and what do you do?
So many different things. We do psychic readings, crossing overs, energy healing, workshops, animal communication events. Yeah, it's a long list.
And I know that you do. I know you do Reiki, Arno. Roxanne, do you do Reiki as well?
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm so glad. You know, and I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I'm so glad. I actually just made a video on YouTube that I'm gonna post a bit later on today about some of the dangers with actually watching things like YouTube online, because you know, people will sometimes breadcrumb you And the same thing with sometimes like Reiki practices and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm so strongly attracted to the two of you, because we obviously had several conversations, the way that you work is very much in alignment with the way that I work. It's about helping you to discover and unlock and expand and maintain and benefit from your own potential of who you are, to empower you so you can live your own life. That you don't have to come back for this little session and that little thing every month or two, because it's all about empowering people. And then they must go and tell their friends, but it's about empowering them so that they can live their best experience of life. So I'm very grateful that you took this journey with me. It was 6 weeks, but there's so many things that happened in the 6 weeks that it's funny, because I got sick, you got sick, your kids got sick, a whole lot of stuff happened. And the thing that got us through all of that was meditation. We check into the other one. Did you meditate today? No?
The one thing that keeps you sane and going.
Yeah.
You might not be able to change the world, but you can change how you experience it based on what you're doing.
Correct.
You change the world within you. One
person at a time, and I think it's always best if you start with that person being you. And every now and then you might need to come back to that person again and again and again. So thank you, guys. I hope you have a beautiful
Thank you so much for the opportunity from our side. It's been great working with you. A lot of fun as well. And we look forward to doing it again.
Because I'm so crazy. People always think that I'm not.
We love your energy.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Ciao.
You too. Bye.
Bye.